Ever feel like you've got this inner movie playing, full of hopes and dreams, but the second you try to actually describe it to someone else, it's just gone. It vanishes like smoke. Well, that's what we're tackling today. You want to find the right words to make those hopes and dreams feel real, right? And not just for you, maybe to inspire other people too. Well, the guide we're diving into today says there's an actual method to this madness. It's not just about wishing on stars, it's about building rockets.
And just like any good rocket launch, you got to start with a really solid blueprint. And that's where this clear statement idea from the guide comes in. It really resonates with me because it emphasizes being specific, really specific. And I think we often shy away from that when it comes to our dreams. We think, oh, I don't want to be too specific. It might limit me. But the guide actually argues the opposite. It says that clarity, being specific, it actually kind of magnetizes the resources and the opportunities you need to actually succeed.
That's a really interesting way to put it. It's like by being vague, we're kind of scattering our energy instead of focusing it like a laser beam. So instead of just saying, I want a better job, the guide would probably push you to ask, what kind of work would actually make me excited to get up every morning? What skills do I actually want to use? What impact do I want my work to have?
Exactly. By answering those questions, you start to actually paint a much clearer picture of what you're aiming for. And that clarity is so crucial, not just for attracting those opportunities, but for staying motivated when things get tough. Because let's face it.
Which they do.
They do.
They inevitably do. But we'll get to that part a little bit later. Right now, we're still kind of building that rocket. So the guide emphasizes that once you've got that clear statement, that well-defined dream, the next step is understanding the why behind it. It's about actually connecting with the emotional core of your aspiration.
Yeah, it's like asking yourself, what's the story I'm trying to write with my life?
Mm-hmm.
What are the values and experiences that are fueling this particular chapter? Because, when you're connected to the why, the how, it becomes so much easier to figure out.
So let's say your dream is, I don't know, let's say it's to open a bakery. You can say, I want to open a bakery because I love baking. Okay, that's a start. But the guide would really encourage you to go deeper. Is it the creative outlet that baking provides? Is it the joy of sharing what you create with others? Or maybe it's about building a community space where people feel welcome and connected.
And this is where things get really fascinating, I think, because the guide emphasizes that when you uncover the why, it often reveals these hidden layers to our dreams. It might even, lead us in unexpected directions. We might start with a dream of opening a bakery, but the why might actually reveal that what we're really, truly passionate about is, teaching others how to bake, or maybe creating some kind of social enterprise that empowers women in the community,
Okay, so we've got the blueprint, right? We've got our clear statement, and we've tapped into that emotional fuel with the why. But this is where things get really interesting for me. The guide isn't just about, practicality. It's about bringing those hopes and dreams to life in a way that truly sings.
Yeah, it's like moving from a blueprint to a fully realized architectural model. You're not just describing the structure anymore. You're actually creating an experience.
Yeah.
And that's where the guide's emphasis on this idea of a vivid vision comes in.
So it's time to break out the metaphorical paintbrushes, right? Because the guide actually talks about using sensory details like sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, all of it to create this really rich and immersive picture of what it would feel like to achieve your dream.
I love this part because it really taps into the power of imagination. So instead of just saying, oh, I want to write a novel, the guide would encourage you to close your eyes for a second and actually imagine yourself sitting in a sun-drenched cafe. The smell of fresh coffee beans is kind of filling the air. Your fingers are flying across the keyboard as the story is unfolding before you. Can you feel the weight of the finished manuscript in your hands? Mm-hmm. Can you hear the murmur of appreciation as readers are losing themselves in your words?
It's about experiencing the dream as if it's already a reality, isn't it? And the guide even suggests that the more vividly we can paint that picture in our minds and in our communication, the more we actually magnetize those outcomes into our lives.
Absolutely. And, this is where storytelling comes in. Because the guide also emphasizes that weaving stories into the way we express our hopes and dreams makes them more relatable, more memorable, and ultimately way more powerful.
And they don't have to be epic sagas or anything like that. Even small personal anecdotes can make a really big impact. The guide gives an example of someone who dreams of traveling the world. And instead of just like rattling off a list of destinations, they share a story about a time that they stepped outside their comfort zone and had this really transformative experience in a foreign country. And suddenly their dream of travel isn't just about like checking destinations off a list. It's about personal growth, cultural immersion, expanding their perspective on the world.
And that's the beauty of storytelling, right? It allows us to connect with our dreams on this much deeper level.
Yeah.
And also to share them with others in a way that sparks their imagination and inspires them to dream big too.
You know, all this talk about sensory details and storytelling, it makes me think about the power of metaphor. The guide touches on this as well, suggesting that metaphors can be incredibly effective in capturing the essence of our aspirations. So instead of just saying, oh, I want a challenging and rewarding career, you could say something like, I want my career to be like climbing a mountain, demanding, yeah, but exhilarating, with these breathtaking views at every summit.
Metaphors are powerful because they create these instant connections in our minds. They allow us to grasp these complex concepts really quickly.
Yeah.
And to connect with them on an emotional level.
Yeah, and I think we do that all the time without even realizing it. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about the importance of a clear statement, uncovering the why, creating that vivid vision, using storytelling and metaphors to bring it all to life. But, you know, the guide also acknowledges that the path to achieving our dreams, it's rarely a straight line, right? There will be challenges,
Oh, absolutely.
setbacks, moments where we question everything.
Of course.
And that's okay. In fact, the guide argues that those challenges are an essential part of the journey.
It's like that old saying, smooth seas never made a skilled sailor.
Mm.
It's those challenges that we overcome, those setbacks that we learn from, that ultimately shape us into the people that we need to be to achieve those dreams. And it's also where having a support system, people we can share those dreams with, people we can lean on when times get tough, it can be invaluable.
And that's something the guide really emphasizes as well, the importance of sharing our hopes and dreams with others. And not just for the support it provides us, but for the ripple effect it can create. Because when we share our dreams, we inspire other people to do the same, to believe in their own potential, and to create a world where, honestly, anything feels possible. You know, it's funny because we often think about hopes and dreams as these, like, solitary things, right? Like they're locked away inside us. But this guide, it really emphasizes the power of actually sharing those dreams with other people. It's almost like by speaking them out loud, they become, I don't know, more real, more tangible.
Yeah, there's a certain vulnerability there, isn't there, in sharing our dreams with others. But it's often in that vulnerability that we find our greatest strength. Because when we open ourselves up to that possibility of support, encouragement, maybe even some constructive criticism, you know, we create the conditions for those dreams to actually flourish.
It's like we're planting a seed and then inviting other people to come and like help us water it, give it sunlight, watch it grow. And who knows, maybe in sharing our own dreams, we'll inspire somebody else to plant a few seeds of their own. And then we can create something beautiful together.
Absolutely. And, you know, the guide also reminds us that sharing our hopes and dreams, it's not just about asking for support. It's also about offering it to other people. It's about creating a culture where it's safe to be vulnerable, to dream big, and to, you know, support each other's aspirations.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together, right?
We are.
We all have hopes and dreams that are like worthy of being nurtured, celebrated, and by lifting each other up, we create this, I don't know, this rising tide that lifts all boats.
Exactly. And as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, I'm struck by the guide's kind of final message, which is really a call to action. You know, it's not enough to just read about these concepts and like nod our heads in agreement. We have to put them into practice.
So where do we even begin?
Well, the guide suggests, like, start small. Maybe it's sharing a dream with a trusted friend, a family member. Or maybe it's just taking one small but concrete step towards a goal that you've been putting off.
It's about taking that initial leap of faith.
Right.
And trusting that the net will appear.
Precisely. And as you continue on this journey of expressing and, you know, pursuing your hopes and dreams, just remember it's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about embracing the journey, you know, with all its twists and turns, and trusting that every step that you take is bringing you closer to that destination.
So to all of our listeners out there, you know, we encourage you, don't let those hopes and dreams stay locked away inside. Give them a voice, share them with the world, and just watch as they take flight. Because honestly, the world needs your dreams now more than ever.
And remember, as the guide so eloquently puts it, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought. What dream will you choose to believe in today?